This is a Micomsoft XMD-2 breakout AV box for the Sega Mega Drive Model 1, or as it is known in the United States, the Sega Genesis. Released in Japan in what I assume was the early mid-90s, it adds various audio-video connections to the console, my primary focus of which is S-Video. I used this box with my Genesis prior to moving to upscaling RGB for HDMI output, and will still use it on occasion for CRT gaming. Let's take a look at the features of the adapter and then check out the S-Video output quality. The way it works is pretty simple. It plugs directly into the 8-pin DIN port on the back of the Genesis. No need for power, as it can take that from the Genesis itself. On one side of the box are, shall we say, Japanese-centric outputs, an 8-pin DIN and a 15-pin connector. This 8-pin DIN is the more standard 270-degree DIN as opposed to the U-shaped 262-degree DIN on the back of the Genesis. You can see how the top two pins between the two plugs aren't exactly in the same spot. If you owned a Japanese MSX computer with an RGB cable to connect your monitor, most likely with a JP21 plug, you could easily swap the connection from the back of the MSX to this box and then play your Sega games on your MSX monitor. The 15-pin connector was used by several Japanese computer monitors at the time. The documentation includes a table of several of them that are compatible. This list on the right contains models that are not supported, and the notes below point out that the display must support 15 kHz. Some monitors only supported 24 kHz and or 31 kHz. There is a screw on the bottom to enable Towns mode. This makes the necessary changes to the signal so that it can be used with the monitor of an FM Towns computer. The instructions caution not to turn this screw on a regular basis as it is rather fragile. Also note the small opening beneath the screw. That is for tuning the S-Video signal quality. I've never messed with it myself. The opposite side of the box has a set of much more common connections: S-Video, stereo right and left, and a 3.5mm jack. The multi-out at the back of the Genesis only provides monaural audio, so these RCA jacks do the same. However, that 3.5mm jack is an audio input and can be used to push stereo sound to the box from the Genesis headphone port or a Sega CD. The 15-pin connector can also pass stereo left and right audio to a display, such as the Sharp CZ604D. Finally, the S-Video output, a non-invasive way to get the signal from a Sega Genesis. Let's take a look. First up is a small Sony Pvm. This image is pretty good. Those aren't jail bars you were seeing, just a side effect of shooting a CRT with a camera. This Pvm supports RGB and component, but serves as a good display to demonstrate the quality of the XMD-2. Next up is a Commodore Monitor with the highest quality input being S-Video. It also looks pretty good. I could have reduced the contrast and brightness just a little more so the recorded image didn't bloom as much, but I think you get a decent idea of the detail present. Finally, here is the image upscaled for HDMI output using the FrameMeister upscaler and captured on a computer. I could have tweaked the scaler settings a bit for a better image, but regardless, it provides an alternative idea of the unit's output quality versus shooting a CRT with a camera. Comparing a capture of upscaled composite video directly from the Genesis also gives a better idea of the gain in image quality when using this device. So independent of collecting, who is this for in 2018? If you are a Japanese computer enthusiast, it helps integrate a Mega Drive's RGB output into your CRT monitor setup. As far as S-Video is concerned, the application is rather niche. If you're an NTSC CRT gamer, it demonstrates the ability to have pretty decent quality S-Video output from a Sega Mega Drive or Genesis without an internal modification to the console. Some people have even made their own external solution. Unless you acquire or already own a CRT with the highest quality video connection being S-Video, you may want to take a different approach to gaming with the Genesis, pursuing either an RGB or a component video solution. For the record, the Genesis revision in this video is a VA 6.5. It is possible that the output of other Model 1 revisions could affect the quality of this box's S-Video output, but I don't have any other revisions to try. Also note that there was an XMD-3 released with a smaller 9-pin plug that fits a Mega Drive Model 2 and 32X. So if it is upscaled RGB, S-Video to a CRT, or rock-solid RF, happy gaming. Thanks for watching.